Do 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 this hit.
All right, guys, we got a fun one today. We got not only a buddy of mine, one of my very first buddies, Jake Osborne. He is obviously tatted up like me, got the beard going on. He has a little bit worse of a hairstyle than me, but just a fellow red beard, a guy that really does put grind to the metal on everything. We're actually going to be talking about the NAR and how much little change we actually see, but it's hitting all national headlines. So that's what we're trying to do here, is to bring some light to somewhat of a dark situation, especially when you see all these clickbait titles, all these places giving incorrect information. Not worth it. So Jake, let's start off. Who are you? What have you accomplished? To anybody that doesn't know you.
My name's Jake Osborne, broker owner. I've got an independent brokerage in Kansas City. We move about $10 million worth of real estate a year.
In 3 years' time, going on 3 years, has moved over 20 million. So somewhat of a very knowledgeable guy. What did you do before real estate?
Before this, I was working in a body shop painting cars.
So painting cars now has moved a few $100,000 in commissions worth of real estate, tens of millions of dollars worth of real estate, started his own brokerage within 3 years. Man, you definitely accomplished a lot. So you've definitely helped out buyers in the past. What do you think this new rules are really going to do?
Honestly, I don't think it's going to change a lot. From what I'm reading and gathering from NAR and the proposed settlement, they're just removing offers of compensation off the MLS. That happens across the country as it is. If you're selling something off market or you're working with a brokerage out of a small town, a lot of those are non-MLS offices. So what it's going to do is it's going to add one more level of negotiation, but as far as day-to-day business, I don't think it's going to change a whole lot. I think it will dilute the number of real estate agents, which I think is going to be a good thing. My opinion, the barrier to entry to this business is kind of laughable.
Very low?
It's pretty laughable. If you got $500, you pass background check, you're a fucking real estate agent. Another thing that concerns me is I think we could take a small step back in some segments. There's a lot of greed in this industry, right? And I know there's going to be a lot of agents out there that are going to try to capitalize off of this, that's good business, right? But when it takes advantage of the client, ends up costing the client more money, or you're not fully transparent with them, I think that's going to be an issue that we see through this kind of like transition phase.
I completely agree, man. I'm not too worried about anything going forward. This lawsuit got brought up because people were being intransparent.
Right.
They're being shady.
Yeah, people are being shady. In my opinion, I think this lawsuit was brought up by
a very disgruntled seller,
right,
who then found other disgruntled sellers.
Right. And they had all worked with bad real estate agents, and the real estate agent didn't know how to negotiate and was standing there in the living room. My brokerage requires me to charge you 6%. And that was being told over and over and over again. And then they find out that's not the case. In my opinion, that's, I think, the kind of what snowballed.
Somebody got butthurt because then the buyers would be compensated from somewhat of the seller's proceeds to then negotiate basically in bad faith, which I don't see it being anything. I think the buyer is ultimately, if it wasn't for their loan, nobody would get paid.
Right. And I mean, it takes a team. So I charge my fee when I list your house. I split my fee with the agent that brings the buyer, because without that agent bringing their buyer, the house doesn't sell. So it's a team effort. And if you do, dual agency, which is terrible, transaction broker, you can't be fair to both sides. I mean, that's a big gray area. It's legal, but is that the best way to do it? Day in, day out?
I don't think it is.
I don't either.
Because if you call me and you haven't sold a house in, let's say, 10, 15 years, and you're like, you know what, I see my house has went up a lot in value. I want to maximize the most amount of money I walk away with. Well, then let's say you are really good at marketing and then you happen to have both sides. Well, the other side maybe haven't purchased a house in 10, 15 years. It's like, okay, these two people have no idea what's going on.
Right.
And now you don't educate either party and you're just the middleman. Don't get me wrong, I've definitely done it, but it's before we go under contract, hey, I'm letting you know I cannot help you after any of this. This is completely up to you, and I become the middleman only.
Right.
I think the lack of communication has been the biggest drawback. And I'm honestly so excited because I can over communicate. Like my people know exactly where they're at any given moment.
Right.
And they don't bother me texting me questions because I let them know up front. But I mean, there's some agents I've heard, yeah, we listed the house and we didn't hear from them until like basically closing.
Right.
I mean, that's unacceptable.
Right. Yeah, we try to keep ours informed throughout the entire process. Let's get this bridge crossed. Then we'll cross this bridge. We just kind of take it a day at a time and go till we're done.
Yep. I think a lot of the agents definitely. So the average people in our business is 58 years old, and truthfully, they're probably burnt out. I mean, this is a very stressful business. You're helping people with the most expensive assets in their world, and you're helping them legalize it and then take on all the liability to make sure it is in their name and everything is good and there's not a bunch of bad stuff that's going to happen in the house. And you're sitting there educating them on, hey, this is a big deal, this is not a big deal. Because whenever you get an inspection, we both know you get 50, 60 pages worth of stuff and you're like, holy hell, this is bad. But then you see outlets, not a big deal, have missing or, oh hell, what's the little button thing?
The GFCIs.
Yes,
Yeah.
They're missing. And then you have whatever the case may be, but it's just like everything stacks up so big. Well, to the average person, that seems astronomical.
Right.
But then to us, it's like, hey, look, this is less than $500 and your entire house will be perfect. Let's not worry about 49 pages of BS, but you know what? This furnace is about to go out. That's a big thing. That's a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 bill. Let's go ahead and try to negotiate this in. So for one, the other side's like, hey, that's only one thing. It's a big thing. Instead of having to deal with all the small little things, they're like, screw it. Like everyone wants to sell a house as is. So it's going to be an interesting time to see, but I'm more just with all the older people burnt out, because like we both know we've dealt with agents. You can just you can just hear and see them through the phone. Like they don't give a shit.
No.
They're in it for a paycheck. And the only reason they're in it for a paycheck is because they don't know what else to do with their life.
Right. Well, and kind of like on what you said, as far as when we were talking about transaction brokers, you've got a guy that hasn't put his house on the market and hasn't sold a house in 10 years, 15 years. That phone call is always, hey, I need to see what I can get out of my house. Well, okay, I may have a buyer for it, right? So what's the correct thing to do in that scenario? Do you walk in and tell this guy, hey, your house is worth this, and we put it on the market? Let him know, hey, I might have a buyer. But you and I both know there's agents out there that will walk in and say, hey, I got a buyer that'll give you $200 when you could easily get $240, or whatever the case is, right? Just to hurry up and make a quick sale, get their check, and they're done.
I like to do this because I've learned, and I've done this with a couple of my investors. I've learned not every single person wants their house to be on the market. God knows why, I don't know. If I can get you more money, why would you not do that?
Right.
But I'll go in, let's say, hey, you know what? I see their house comping for $300,000. Just want to let you know, if you don't want to post it up on the market, you just say, hey, you know what? I don't want people in my house. I don't want to deal with the BS. I have an investor, but he will offer you a lot less. His offer is $220. If you're not willing to take it, so be it. I just want to let you know, hey, if this is an instant cash offer, if you want it, you walk away scot-free. Most people...
Yeah, but there's a transparency level there. So
yes,
as long as you're transparent and say, hey, I mean,
you can get more. I always try to push for people to get more, but there's some people that are stubborn and they're like, nope. I'm not like, which I don't know why, but I've had this conversation a few times and they're just stubborn. Hell, I got a guy right now that I don't know where he's at in this world, but he wanted to, he was going to have a short sale go on. and horrible situation, but he's like, I'm just gonna let my house go to foreclosure. Like, that's literally the worst thing you could possibly do for yourself. I was like, your $15,000 to $20,000 short sale situation just turned into $100,000 to $150,000 short sale situation because the bank doesn't care about you. The bank only cares about getting as much money as they possibly can as quick as possible. And whenever you talk about quickness, you're never going to get max value.
No.
So it's an unfortunate situation. He's going to have to learn the hard way because of that. But it's like you try to help somebody, and you can. I hate associating people with this term, but I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Like I can show you, hey, this is how I can save you, but it's ultimately up to you if you want to get saved or not. If you want to drown, awesome.
Right.
Best of luck to you. I'm not even going to throw a raft out because you're acting an idiot. If I have my hand out, but you just sit there flapping it in the water, it's up to you.
Right.
So what do you think is going to change with this NAR, ultimately?
The biggest change I see is I think the agent count's going to dwindle heavy.
Now, when you say that, what do you mean?
I think we're going to have a lot of your part-time agents, your lower producer agents that are struggling already.
Hold on, I want to dissect this, each part.
Mm-hmm.
So the part-time agents, to people out there, or let's say even in person wanting to get in for part-time, would you ever suggest somebody get in part-time?
I started part-time. I think it really depends.
What did part-time look like for you?
It was wild. Because I was working at the body shop, right? So I would go sit in my car when we weren't doing anything, pull up my laptop and start cold calling in my car.
So you made it a full-time career despite...
So I say I did more dual career than part-time. But I only did that for about 3 months. And then I just said,
Did you know real estate was going to be your end goal?
It had always been kind of my end goal. It was actually kind of what I wanted to do out of high school. But you look at the hours, the schedule. I mean, there's a lot of cons to the business. There's a lot of pros to the business, but there's some cons. Because I was in a body shop for a long time, right? That's all I knew, all I did. For the last 5 years I was there, it was like, what am I going to do? I've got to get out of here. What's my escape plan? And I've been buying and selling real estate since I was 19 years old. So I knew a lot about the process, how it worked. So I was like, well, I know how that works. Honestly, I looked at it and said, it's easy money. Learned real quick it's not easy money.
No.
Real quick. But it looks like it.
Man, so I was telling this story just back in Cabo this last week. They're like, how did you begin? I was like, honestly, I got back from North Dakota and saw real estate, and I thought I was just popping bottles and having a good time. So I thought, man, what if I change my real estate thing on Facebook? I'm a real estate agent. I thought it was just going to be easy money. Mm-hmm. And for 2 years, I did nothing with it. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I didn't realize, like, I realized in October of 2021, it doesn't matter what you know if nobody knows you know it.
Right.
So I am a marketer first. Like, selling houses is the very last thing in my job.
Right.
Like, I have to find clients. I have to then associate with clients. And then I have to make sure the clients trust me. And then I have to make sure I can deliver to my clients. And I have to make sure my calendar accepts clients. Because if you're working with one person, that's not a good enough business.
Right.
So I have to get my calendar in order. Like, there are so many things to the very end. Like, when you see that giant keys are sold, everyone thinks, man, that's the easiest job in the world. And it's like, you don't realize
that picture started anywhere from 3 months to 3 years ago.
Oh my God, dude. I have.
And that's not even accounting for all the heartbreak, sleepless nights. I mean, you got close friends, relatives. I mean, you think, like you said, you change your profile picture, your headshot, you post on real estate, you think all your buddies just like, hey!
No, your clients will become your friends faster than your plans. Yep. And it is so heartbreaking, and I have to always look at me. I've taken an oath that I'm extreme accountability. Everything in my life is my fault. Because if it's not my fault, that means I can't solve it.
Right.
And if I can't solve it, that means I'm not in control of my own life.
Right.
So it's like, if a client fires me, it's my fault. If a client's nuts, it's my fault. If a client causes me a bunch of stress, it's my fault. And I always can go down to simple decisions. Like, there's a very easy thing in my life now. Bring me peace, and I'll bring you happiness. Like, my peace is so important, and I've learned those really difficult clients, there's like 8-10 grand behind it, but they are bothering me so much that I'm not wanting to.
It's not even worth the, because it's going to draw you back, and it's ultimately going to, that 8 to 10,000 is ultimately going to cost you 20 to 30, because you're going to focus so much more time on that client that you can't continue your business.
Like, every single day I have to find new business. Absolutely have to. I have to have 15 to 20 people actively searching for new houses. I have to be having at least 5 to 10 people that are wanting to sell here in the very soon time frame. And I have to consistently have those just to have 2 to 3 closings a month, if I'm lucky. And it's like you said, man, 2 to 3 years, it's like, dude, there are certain people I'm still communicating with month over month over month over month over month. And I'm going to follow up until you block me or you die. Like, there is no other way. And I've learned that the hard way.
Yep.
Like, when I've let some friends of mine that I didn't follow up with use another agent, I was first upset with them. And then that pointer finger, I started realizing there's a few pointing back.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, you are going to hate me before you fire me. And I'm going to learn that, because you're going to be like, dude, this guy's blowing me up again. Like, well, shit, this guy's hitting me up again. And I will follow up until the day I die. Or, like, you either buy or die with me. It sucks saying it like that, but it's like, I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Because if let's say, and I'm going to post this probably into a short of some sorts. Let's say you hit me up in a month or so goes by, and I have never hit you up again, but you met some cool ass person at the bar last night, and they're telling you all the things you want to hear. You're going to call them up. Now, could I have done a better job? I know for a fact I could have. Because for one, I'm not going out to the bar and not meeting random people, and I don't have a silver tongue?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that. I'm a smooth talker, but I'm a genuine talker.
Right.
Like, could I be evil about it? Absolutely. Do I want to? Can't sleep at night doing it.
Nope.
So, sorry, I'm going on a little tangent. So, Jake, you're a top producer now, sold over $20 million worth of inventory. You are having a start to a record-breaking year, and where a lot of agents are now scared about the business, is also now worried about future business. What's having you have so much success? What is
just keep grinding.
What does grinding look like?
Making relationships. I mean, this business is relationships. So the more outreach, the more communication. Try to find new clients.
You said making relationships, so should I just go up to people and say, hey, we should be friends, and we're friends then?
I mean, if it works.
I think I've said that to a few of my friends, actually. But, like, what does that look like to somebody? Let's say we have a single agent out there that's so scared, but has too much pride to reach out to anybody for help. What would you suggest to them?
Lose your pride. You better reach out and ask for help. You just got to get over the fear. The fear will kill you in this business. When I jumped into this business, I had no pipeline. I had nothing. I had no business being in this business. I didn't sleep for 4 months. I was terrified. I cashed out my 401k, and I put it all on the line.
So you literally put it all on the line on you.
Yeah. And that was never me, man. I had a W-2 job, been there for 15 years. That wasn't me. You wouldn't catch me dead talking to anybody. I mean, we had to do a complete swap. The biggest thing you got to find is a support system. Who's there and who has your back and who actually has your back, right? Who can you go talk to and say, hey, I need help. Hey, I'm losing my shit. I need to calm down. I need somebody that can be there for me, to tell me to suck it up, get over it, figure it out. Or do this, do that, whatever that case is. I mean, if you don't have that support system, you need to find it.
I like that. So, your team, ultimately, I mean, obviously, your wife.
Mm-hmm. She was She's actually the one that was like, just do it. Just pull out 401k, quit, you'll figure it out.
God, you have an amazing life.
I do. I didn't figure she'd ever tell me that, but I mean, if it wouldn't have been for her, I wouldn't be here.
What has changed other than your bank account has changed since you've jumped in full time into real estate?
I mean, everything. I mean, you've got, the flexibility to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it. I mean, within reason, obviously. I mean, if you got clients or you're working deals, whatever, I mean, that comes first. But if I want to go on vacation, I'm going to ask my boss permission. I used to watch a lot of Bradley, right? And I was listening to one of his reels, and he said, freedom is being able to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it. With who I want to do it with. If I've got to ask for your permission, I don't have freedom. And that hits hard. If I want to go on vacation, hey, let's pack the bag and go.
I try to be communicative with my current clients and their contract
right.
only.
And I mean, if I got a lot of stuff going on, I'm not going on vacation. I'm not going to leave in the middle of that.
No. There's always those little down times.
Yeah, you got to just ride them and hit them when you can. I mean, we've missed a few vacations because we've been too busy. So you're not 100% free, but if I don't want to wake up till noon, guess what? Sleep until noon.
What's your why?
To prove that I can do it.
To who?
Myself. I had a lot to prove to a lot of people because, when I jumped in,
You're an idiot.
Yeah, there was 5 people that actually thought I would do anything. And those 5 people are some of my closest friends. The rest of them I knew. Because, I mean, you see, how many real estate agents do you see they post up, hey, I got my license. Where'd they go? Right?
Man, I try to help them all, and I don't care if I come across anymore.
I don't either.
If I truly message somebody and say, hey, I love what you're doing. With that being said, you should do it this way. And if you get offended, that says everything about you.
Right.
Like,
I mean, you do that to me, I tell you to get fucked.
Dude, I think I have. And I think that was the exact response. But it's like, pride comes before the fall, and I think so many people are out here trying to make everything so perfect, and it comes off as inauthentic.
Right. They want everybody to like them. They put on a fake front. I don't give a shit if you like me or not.
Dude, that video I posted yesterday, it's crazy the amount of texts I got saying I absolutely loved it. It's wild to me how my client was like, dude, I loved it. He's like, I don't understand how this can help. I'm like, how do I make a $215,000 house look more appealing? Right. It's like, I have to show personality. It's like, how do I showcase your home and provide humor? Because real estate's not fun right now. Real estate's not cool.
Yeah, the headlines are bad. The headlines are misinformed. It doesn't have that positive aura at the moment.
Marketing is all about doing things to grab attention. Mm-hmm. How do I get as much attention as possible? You know what? Did I want to go walk through his house and just talk wild? Not even a little bit. With that being said, was it the best thing possible for my client? Absolutely. And it's like, that's the important part, is what can I do the best? And sitting there looking at all these Instagram, it's like, you can see all the pretty stuff, and you can see all the cool stuff, and you can see all this. Unfortunately,
how do you make yours stick out from that?
Well, a $215,000 house, I can't make it as cool as a $2 or $3 million.
Right.
I just cannot do it. I don't care about the editing. There's no way in hell. Now, with that being said, all these stuck-up agents with these $2 or $3 million houses, I can destroy them in personality. So it's like, all right, so they may have a $2 or $3 million house, and they're completely chiseled, and have a very nice suit on, and they're the typical agent you think that would take advantage of you, So how can I beat them? I have to beat them in personality. It's like, I got all these suits now too, and I love wearing my suits. I look so good in a suit. I feel so confident in a suit. With that being said, I'm not going to show up to a $200,000 house with a suit.
I've got one still sitting in the wrapper at home.
I got 3 suits, and man, I love wearing them, and it makes me feel so good. But I was like, you know what? Only when I hit luxury clients am I going to wear these.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you get one chance at a first impression.
Right, but I mean, on that, why?
So
why would you change? Why would you change what makes you different?
I'm not going to change
Right,
anything.
but
I'm going to need to look very presentable, like I'm respecting your time and all your hard work to purchase of what you have purchased in the past.
right.
I'm going to respect it by the clothes. Am I going to change personality?
Right.
Fuck no.
See, I'm rolling up jeans and a t-shirt.
I had a luxury friend, buddy of mine is a luxury agent up in Toronto, and he's like, you should dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. He goes, if I've worked my ass off for everything in my life, and I am calling you up because I like your personality, the least you can do is show up in a suit to respect my $3 million house. He goes, you get one chance at a first impression. What would you rather be, underdressed or overdressed? I'm like, that's a good point. He goes, you don't have to. He goes, could you get it on your own? Most likely, probably. But wouldn't you want to put yourself in the best position to succeed at any given opportunity? Do you want to show everybody that you care at least, or do you want to show everyone that you're putting in the effort? He goes, what would you like to do, Mike? I'm like, damn. That's all I can say. I'm like, you made a valid point.
Right.
It hit me in my balls. I want to wear jeans. I want to wear this stuff everywhere, but it's like, if I get one chance at a first impression, and there's another guy with the same type of personality as me, but he puts in more effort in the way he looks, very first impression, and that's why they choose him, it's like, I would kick myself.
Right, but I don't know, dude. My opinion has been very much, I am who I am. You know, I'm comfortable in jeans and a t-shirt. I don't care. So when I got my headshot, I had a suit. I ordered a blazer on Amazon. I had no money. I returned it after my headshot. I took a couple headshot photos in my suit, and then a couple just in a blazer. You know, so tatted up. You know. I haven't worn a suit one time since.
I wear them just periodically, and dude, it's a fun time being a single guy. I'll say that because I wore it. So my clients last week, we went and checked out a $1.2 million place, and they're some good friends. They're like, why are you in a suit? I said, when we're looking at luxury houses, this is the way I present myself. I said, you guys are my friends, but eventually I won't know these people too well, and I need to be very comfortable. So yeah, you guys are kind of my practice dummies. Like, that's fine. You look really good. So I was like, man, I felt kind of good. And I walked to the Quick Trip, and there were a few people that came up. I'm like, man, you look really good. I'm like, man, it feels good when I get complimented for doing nothing.
Right.
And then I ended up saying, you know what? I don't want to wear it to the T-Mobile Center, the Big 12 tournament is going on. I don't want to wear it down there. And then I started asking myself, why do I not want to wear it? Because people might talk to me. People may come up to me. I may be too overdressed. And it was like, everything I don't want to do, I have to force myself to do it. If I don't want to make the call, if I don't want to do the video, every single time I don't want to do something, I go and do it, pays off tenfold.
Right.
Dude, walking around in this very nice suit, and I only paid a couple $100 for it. Nothing crazy like
Right.
Most people's shirts and jeans are more expensive than this suit was. But the amount of people that came up, from women to guys, that sounds really weird, just to random people saying, man, you look really good. It made me feel good. I'm like, man, so if I put an effort into the way I dress, and people come up and compliment me on putting in my effort, and then when people come up and compliment me, it makes me feel good. And then whenever I feel good, I act better. Like, why would I not want to do that more?
Valid point.
Dude, I'm thinking so, you're like, dude, this motherfucker has changed a bunch since the very first time we met at first class. We haven't even really talked about the NAR. Basically, nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to change. It's going to be business. I know I'm going to operate my business the same possible way.
I believe more transparency needs to happen.
Yeah, I think you need to be fully transparent. I'll educate my sellers on, why we do. I mean, I'm sure you've had that discussion. I've had that discussion numerous times.
I always say, hey, my fee is 6%. Just want to let you know I'm going to split that with the buyer's agent to make sure they bring in
a good offer to it, right? And then, I've been asked several times, Well, why do I have to pay the buyer's agent? Well, my fee is my fee. The buyer's agent has the buyer clients. Your buyer pools are going to open up dramatically. So, do you not see the benefit there? And if you can explain it to them, okay, it makes sense. You know, and 9 times out of 10, your sellers are also buying, so it's okay. Well, you know, when you buy your new home, that's how it's going to function. You know, most likely there. You know, or do you want to pay the full boat here and then get hit for it here as well?
I think somebody definitely got really upset, and that really upset person just happened to be some type of lawyer. I don't know a lot of the details.
Yeah.
But somebody definitely got upset thinking they could have done it on their own. And it's like, man, you go off.
I mean, can you sell a home on your own? Yes. Can you buy a home on your own? Absolutely.
I don't think you
But how many questions are you asked on a day-to-day basis? I mean,
35,000.
yeah. So we get, you know, we're doing this day in, day out every day. If you haven't bought or sold a home in even 2 to 3, 5 years, all of this is new to you, right? You've got clients calling you up panicking. It's okay, calm down. We've been here 100 times before. Here's the solution. Anytime if I get a call from another agent or whatever the case, and I have bad news, my first solution before I even contact my clients is find a solution.
Yep.
And that way I can call my client and I can say, hey, here's a problem. And they panic and go, hold on, here's our solution.
They want to let you know inspections came back. They were not as good as we expected. With that being said, out of everything on the inspection report, they are asking for 3 things.
Yep.
Not good news, but how would you like to proceed? Blah, 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 blah.
My opinion is this or that.
My opinion would be, hey, let's take care of the most expensive thing. Let's just go ahead and charge it at the very end. They can just put it into escrow. These other 2 things really aren't that big of a deal, but let's find out if it's going to break the deal or not.
Right.
Hey, my sellers want to do this. We think you should be able to do this because they've been living with it for so long. That's how I negotiate, and they're like, you know what, that makes sense.
So try to find a middle ground. Negotiating is about finding a middle ground. It's not digging your heels in the sand and saying, that's all you get.
I think most of the time sellers are, I get it whenever I've had a couple clients really close to short sale situation.
Mm-hmm.
We just
I had one I had to talk a contractor off the doorstep. He was getting ready to change the locks 2 days before closing. I had to talk him off the doorstep so we could get it closed.
Wait, what happened?
I had one that was, I had a listing that was in foreclosure. The bank had actually sent a contractor out there to winterize the property and change the locks. So he calls me because he saw my sign and he was like, hey, I'm out here to the bank sent me. I said, dude, we close literally in 2 days. Please give me to the end of the week. And he's like, well, they told me to come do it. I'm like, dude, I know you're doing your job, I get it. But I'm telling you, the bank's gonna have their money in 2 days. If it's not closed by the end of the day Friday, go change the locks and winterize the property. And he said, all right, I'll do that. You want to talk about nerve-wracking, dude? Because you're at the end of the road. Everything's done.
What ended up becoming of it?
We closed it. We closed it. It closed on, I believe, a Thursday. So just the bank had their money, everything was good, and everybody was happy.
Was it a short sale?
No, it was. I don't know.
Selling me.
I put it on the market as a normal listing, and then it ended up in foreclosure somewhere in that time frame. And I've had other clients, I've had other sellers where it's like, hey, the buyer wants, the date on the seller's disclosure for the HVAC doesn't line up with the date on the sticker. Okay, well then the date on the sticker is the right date, right? We fill it out to the best of our ability. This happened, but it is what it is, right? Obviously we want to be as open and transparent on that disclosure as possible.
Yes,
but stuff happens, right? You're under the impression, hey, I think the guy that put it in before me replaced it. Okay, well, he didn't.
Answer to the best of your knowledge,
right.
And it's always better to disclose too much than not enough.
Yes. I've had clients, get screwed over because the sellers aren't disclosing enough, and it bites them. And it's like, we did inspections, we did everything we could. I can't make these people tell me the truth. But my clients, I'm going to make sure, hey, if I know something, I'm telling you, right? If the seller knows of something, you need to put it on there.
Yeah, you have to.
It's better to just get it out on the table than to hide it and have it try to come back and bite you.
Oh, that's what I tell all my clients. It's better to let everyone know if you had a leak from your sink 10 years ago, just let it be known.
Yeah.
Because this is all going to avoid possible litigation in the future.
Yep. And it's going to save you. It's not going to deter anybody. But you're open and you're honest. And if you're open and you're honest, as a seller, the buyer is going to say, okay, we saw this on the inspection, but this person already disclosed this and this, and as open and as honest as they were, I feel comfortable with this.
Yep. And it's like so many things. Right now I have a client that said, hey, has anything bad happened to your house while you're there? He goes, no. I said, all right, well, if anything has, I don't care how big or I don't care how small. He goes, let it be known. He goes, Mike, I'm barely ever at my house. He goes, whenever I'm there, I go in and I go to sleep. I wake up and everything's good. I'm like, all right, perfect. That's the end of the story.
Right.
And it's, there's certain people, they're like, well, we ended up remodeling the kitchen after we had a bad leak or whatever. It's like, disclose that.
Yes.
Well, we fixed it all.
Still
I get
put
it.
it in there.
Put it.
It's been repaired, but it happened once. It's been repaired.
Like, it's one of those things, you get one opportunity to save your ass. Like, why would you not want to put it in there?
Yeah, just be honest.
Yep.
It's literally that easy.
But that's one of those things when you have a piss poor agent, or even, like, let's say you don't want to use an agent.
And you hit one of those roadblocks, you don't know how to navigate it. You might not, at the end of the road,
Realistically,
I've
said this, and I even still think it. Do people need an agent to sell or help buy or sell real estate? I don't believe they actually have to have them. Our job is to make sure it's completely legal. Our job is to make sure it's as smooth as possible. And our job ultimately is to make sure you get what you want in a time frame that you desire.
Yep.
Like, we really just find you where you like to go and then make sure we get you all the steps in order to do it. That one time every 3, 4, 5 years, the average person moves every 5 years. One time every 5 years. How much effort are you going to put in? Are you going to go put in a month, 2 months worth of learning everything about real estate so you can learn the square foot of a mile or a square foot of an acre? It's like, that's one of those.
We're basically stress sponges.
Yeah.
I mean, we're carrying, if your clients are stressed, you got some stressful stuff happening. Not only are my clients stressed, I'm absorbing that too, because I take ownership in all my transactions.
Yep.
Right? I'm not just, okay, I'll see it closing and collect my check. I mean, that's not how it is. I'm carrying your stress. If you're stressed, I'm going to calm you down. Let me carry it. We'll get it done. You just relax. Don't worry about it. I mean, just a simple conversation of, hey, hey, we had FHA appraisal come out. We're going to hit us on this. All right. No big deal. Let's get it done. When we meet over there, I'll bring the paint and let's go.
Actually, I ended up just having to paint a deck at a client's house in December. December, mind you, cold. Yeah. FHA deck had some chipping paint on the back deck. Not even actually attached to the house, but they said because it's chipping back deck, you have to fix it. I'm like,
sheds.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Sheds too?
Sheds. I've been hit on sheds quite a few times. We've had to, we've demolished a few sheds just to, get it done.
I called my clients that evening. I'll never forget it. I don't want to share his name for his own privacy. He's like, are you effing kidding me? He goes, why are you calling me with this BS at this time? I said, dude, I wish I would have called you earlier, but I just got delivered the news. We're a week from closing. We just found out we have to now paint a deck. We get to the house and say, hey, I'll be there at 10 a.m. He goes, well, I'm going to start at 9. I was like, I'll be there at 10. I'm going to be there. He goes, you know you don't have to, right? I was like, I know. I'm going to be there at 10. And he's like, man, Mike, right whenever I showed up, we went to go buy this paint at Home Depot, and the lady at the front desk was like, you realize it's cold outside and paint's not good? He goes, yeah, I know. It's like, I don't, that was an amazing moment. I started cracking up. Most recently, we sold I never will do this again, little farmhouse up in Plattsburgh. Mm-hmm. We went FHA. There was an agent that kind of has destroyed a deal in the past with me, and I just one of those people that really fight for every last dollar for their clients. Don't try to meet a middle ground. It's I'm going to win no matter what.
Right.
Not a very good agent to work with. Well, she destroyed a deal in the past and then tried to get me in trouble about it, about not disclosing something even though we did. And then she even brought it up to my brokers, and I got my brokers involved. And they told me exactly what to write back, and we dropped it. Well, this agent popped back up, and I'm like, hey, there's two different options. This one's a really sweet person, but I know for a fact there's going to be work. Thankfully, the seller was a general contractor. And then there's this other person. I have a past with them. She fights tooth and nail. I think as far as net dollar amount, they're going to be worse. What would you guys like to do? Like, well, there's a lot of work. I said, yeah, there is a lot of work. Realistically, it's going to be a few $1,000s worth of work. But I feel like this person's going to come in and hit 10, 15 grand or so off during inspection,
right.
Just because that's the type of person she has been in the past. And they're like, all right, let's go ahead and roll the FHA. Well, the FHA was a new septic tank. Yeah. New septic tank, and then it was a lot of little stuff. Back deck was completely chipped paint. The front porch, the front step into the house was dilapidated concrete. There was a lot of little stuff, and he spent a good solid week fixing it. Thank God he's a general contractor, but I would have never suggested it if it wasn't.
Dude, we've all been there. I had the hardest transaction of my career. We sold a house FHA, and they were buying a home VA. And we had the most snub-nosed appraiser. Right? and she went out and she hit their purchase. The seller of that home out of the country. Agent was out of town. Week and a half out from closing, I think. I took 5 tons of dirt and a shovel and was grading around this house because it didn't have positive grading around the foundation. So I'm over there with a shovel, and I documented it all because I'm like, she's going to tell me I didn't put enough dirt down. I knew it. She calls me to appraise their sale. I'm like, fuck. And we had 2 laundry lists. We had to tear down decks, tear down sheds.
Whoa.
Redo some gutters, replace some windows. I mean, we got it done, but it was not,
you
it was not fun.
You never realize how much you can actually accomplish in a week until you need to accomplish something in a week.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I know for a fact a lot of agents would just be like, well, get it done. Tell me when it's done. I'm like, let's go. I'll bring the truck, let's go, let's party.
It sounds bad, what I'm about to say, but it's every single client I find and communicate with, I want them to get to the closing table. Right. For one, I get paid, but for 2, they get onto their new journey. Right. That chapter's done, and then it's up to me. Yeah, they're happy. So it's like I'm always trying to get to the next deal in a way. Like, hey, make sure you're 100% happy here, and then find the next one.
Right.
Get them to the next deal, and then my bank account keeps going up and up and up and up. But the entire time, just providing excellent service while we're going through. It's like, man, I want to get these deals shut down so I can move on to my next journey. I'm financially a little bit better, but ultimately, you're no longer stressed. Because you're no longer stressed, you're no longer causing me stress.
Right.
I want to go deal with stress with a new person.
It's always something new.
Like I'm so thankful that I have all the amazing relationships from my past clients too. I'll give them a call afterwards every couple of months or so. I'm talking to at least everybody, and just to call and be like, hey, just want to let you know I'm really stressed out, and because you stressed me out in the past, I'm now going to use you as a stress reliever for life. And they always love hearing from me. Dude, I screw with all my clients.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a stressful, and I tell all my clients, I mean, it should be fun and exciting. It's stressful. Just I'm here to make it light.
I make it light during,
right?
But I'm going to give you hell for life,
right? But I'm going to clown around with you. I'm gonna calm you down. I'm gonna get you back happy. Hey, it's fine. Everything that's happening here, we've dealt with. And if I haven't, sweet. Now I know I've got that in the book of things we've handled.
Yeah, there's things that I've dealt with, and then the things I have yet to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never gonna.
It's always changing, and if you're afraid of change, you're gonna hate extinction.
Well, I got one more question for you, because I know your time is valuable after showing me how much work you were accomplishing before I left. If you were going to give any bit of advice to, let's say, any entrepreneur, let's start off first with real estate agent, like dead set advice to anyone brand new, struggling, hurting, possibly scared about this new ruling, what is one bit of advice that you would give?
Worry about what you can control. If you can't control it, there's no point in stressing out about it. Figure out how you're going to handle it. How are you going to adjust to it? There's things you can control and there's things you can't. Things you can control is your effort, your knowledge, just your day-to-day activity.
What would you say would be the best thing that happened to you? Because you said that you were not able to talk to people in the past. And I picked up that one thing. What would you say is the number one thing that helped it attribute to your successes?
Not being scared. I mean, fear will kill you. If you have a fear, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
So if you have
I heard that time and time again when I was getting started. Was get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, how do you do that? You get in front of people. You're cold calling people. That sucks. But a friend of mine that's an agent, he goes, the worst they can do is tell you to fuck off, and that's just a grown-up's way of saying no.
I mean, true. I still hate cold calling.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I nurture my friends and family now. I'm so much nurture. It's just just being the human that everyone needs in their life.
I focus just mainly on social media and kind of, make sure everybody knows what you do and how can I stand out. I mean, actually, I think the first time I ever met you, you were like, I know you. Because you told me, you go, yeah, I saw your closing picture. I was like, who the hell goes to closing in t-shirt tattoos? You remember that?
Probably. It's very recognizable when you have tattoos.
Right. You might as well use it to your advantage.
Oh yeah, you're never going. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
No. And you're not going to make everybody happy. Not everybody's going to like it. You don't need everybody to like it.
I used to think I should cast out my net to the biggest amount of fish as possible. Mm-hmm. Now I realize I'd rather have one fishing pole and go for those trophies.
I'd say it's a balance beam.
Well, I used to think, man, you know what? Let me be the most perfect human possible to attract the masses. Dude, I don't want to work with everybody.
No, my logic in this business has always been, not everybody's going to like me. That's fine. I can accept that. I don't need everybody to like me. What's the population of Kansas City? Millions of people?
Like 580,000 people.
Okay. I'm not selling all of my house. But if 1% or 0.5% like me and like the things I do, I'm set.
Oh yeah, I mean, realistically.
And I would rather work with people that know who I am. And you're going to get what you get. And it is what it is.
For a single agent, you're booking in about 100 transactions. Like if 100 people call you a year, you're probably having somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 conversations, just for the law of averages. And it's like, all right, that's 1%. You only need 10,000 people. I mean, my Facebook has 3,300 people on it following me. I got 2,400-ish on Instagram. I got 500 on TikTok. I got 500 subscribers on YouTube. It's like that right there is like 5,000 or 6,000. As long as I continue to post every single day, it's nurturing.
It grows.
Like as long as you know every single day I'm doing real estate, I don't need you to share my stuff.
No.
I just need you to know that I do it.
Right.
And then I really need you to like it, some of you guys. Man, now let's go one more, not real estate agent. I know you said basically F fear, but let's say any general entrepreneur.
I still think it'd be the same.
Anything that you fear, you should accomplish. Give a nice little saying.
Oh,
I know what you fear, you attract.
Yeah, that ain't true. Well, you'll focus on more. Whatever's in your head, you're gonna focus on.
Like,
so if you're in your head saying, you know, when I jumped into this, I know I was scared shitless.
I still am.
So I would, you wouldn't sleep. You're scared. Well, then your mindset is screwed. So as soon as you change that around for a positive, and think, okay, what am I gonna do? I can't sit here and mope around. I've got to get out there and do something.
I was listening to Andy talk today, and he's like, you should do the things that you're afraid of, because that's where discipline comes over motivation. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I still don't want to go to the gym. I still don't want to make the calls. I still don't want to do the videos. I still don't want to do all these things. And basic reason is the fear of what other people may think of me.
Right. That's the hardest things to get over is, I do not remember when I first started, I would, because I didn't post much on social media, and I mean, I don't post like you do, but I'm definitely a lot more, social media than I used to. But I used to make up a post and I'd show it to my wife, what do you think? What do you think?
I still do that!
Should I post it? Now I'm just like, hey, is that too aggressive?
Dude, that video yesterday with the house, I sent it to my buddies blowing up in California. I have my 2 leaders in my personal team, and I sent it to a guy with like 25, 30,000 followers on Instagram. I'm like, hey, I'm nervous about posting this first. Everyone knows that it's badass. Yeah. I'm like, all right. Like with that dancing video, a lot of people saw that one. You're laughing, you're like, yeah, you look like an idiot. But it's like, how do I let everyone know what I do without physically saying I'm a real estate agent?
Right, because nobody wants to hear that.
Dude, no. Nobody listen to this right now. Nobody in the world cares that you're a real estate agent. They only care about how you make them feel, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Dude, it's insane. Like, I had so many people made my day. I had a couple people let me know they showed their kids. One of them was like, dude, my kids loved your dancing. And I'm sitting there like red-faced, and I'm like, man, I'm nervous. I have a few buddies like, why would you ever do that?
Right.
I'm like, I don't know.
My kids get a kick out of it. Dad, you got a TikTok? Dad, you made that video?
Dude, I'm getting a red face now. I know for a fact I am, because I still get uncomfortable, and it's like every single time I get uncomfortable, something amazing happens. Mm-hmm. I get 2 people message me off my client's house. Would they have messaged me if I just had a very clean? I don't know. But it's like, I put him in the best situation to get as many views as possible by utilizing me to showcase his home. And it was a little bit more outlandish than what I normally do, but that's how I walk through houses. Hey, look, guys, you can look at the school through this window. Look how big the house is. Like, things like this is...
I had some clients a couple weeks ago. We're in a basement, right? And they're looking at the floor joists. He's like, are those 2x8s, 2x6s? I'm like, I don't know, man. And I took my hand and I set it up on the rafter. And they're looking like I'm just like got this magical measurement on my hand right in there. I just shut it up there and I look like, what's that big? Dude, they died.
Dude, these are all the fun moments of real estate. Is we're not magical. I would have totally did something like that too. About that big.
Yeah.
Look at me like. Like, I keep my life so simple too. Like, people ask me a bunch of questions. I'm like, dude, I just whatever I think I do.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I don't have a tape measure on me. I'm not gonna pull out my phone. Best form of measurement, I don't know, it's about 5-6 inches. Yeah. Maybe 7.5 if you're a female. Jake, I want to say thank you so much. This has been a killer time, and hopefully someone not only picks up and gets some value from this, but also let somebody else know that may be struggling. Like, we're a couple agents. We're not worried about it. It's not going to change a lot. Maybe some prick sellers out there don't want to pay it. Awesome. Let's cross that.
They've always been there.
Yeah, there's those people are called for sale by owners. But you have anything last second to tell all your fans and possibly kids and maybe those clients that never wanted to use you?
No, but I should say on camera.
Awesome. Well, this has been another podcast, the Value Given Podcast. Hopefully you grab some value from it. Be sure to share with one of your friends that may be going through something, or possibly share with an agent that you may know, knowing that, hey, we're not worried, you shouldn't be either. Not a very stressful situation. Maybe if you're a seller and you're asking a bunch of questions, watch this video in its entirety again and again and again and again, and then call me or Jake to sell your place, because we'd love to help you. Awesome, buddy.
Right on.